Welcome back to our podcast show, The State of the Society. I'm your host, Emma Teresa, and today we're going to bring you amazing topic on marriage. And we have our two guests here. Let him introduce himself.
My name is Asante. My name is Fedi. I am a storyteller, a journalist, and content strategist. For the purposes of this podcast, married man.
Thank
Okay.
you. Welcome.
My name is Muda. I'm a biomedical engineer. And for the purposes of this podcast, I'm unmarried. 30 years of being unmarried and a father of 3. Thank
Welcome, Mr. Muda. So today we have both the two, the married man and the unmarried. In short, millennial versus
you. I think,
Gen Z.
Yeah.
So, okay, welcome, guys. So, today we are going to talk about why many marriages in our society today failed. You find that mtu anaingia kwa marriage like 1 year down the line, marriage imeanguka. What is it that they are not doing that they are supposed to do, or things that millennials did that they are not doing? Karibu sana, Mr. Fedi.
Thank you. This is a very deep discussion to have, and there's a lot of layers to unpack. And the first thing that you almost want to counter, challenge that and ask ourselves, is it that many marriages are failing, or are we seeing failed marriages more than successful marriages as a result of algorithms and rage bait and online drama and people wanting tea? Because our parents are married 20, 30, 40 years. We are very happily married in the kanisa and people living very happily. But that is not interesting until somebody cheats, until somebody walks away. And now you see weddings which happen, and within 1 week, there's a divorce. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, there's something that was there that people didn't look at. But more importantly, also, statistics are showing that, yes, there is a rise in divorce rates. In fact, in America, I think in Europe, divorce rates can even go as high as 60-70% of marriages.
Very true.
So for Gen Z, I think for me, the main reason, I think there's an evolution of the definition of what marriage is from what it has been before. The old syllabus is gone, but there is no new syllabus to play with. There's no playbook for marriage. So there's a mixture between what you were raised to believe in marriage and what people think they know about marriage is now. And until that is reconciled, I think we'll be seeing a lot more separations, because the main tenets of why we got into marriage is now completely broken up, and down the line we can start breaking them down one by one.
Okay, so if I may ask you, in your marriage right now,
Yes.
I know you're happily married with kids, blah, 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 but you find that the society today, most of marriages,
Yes.
they only last for maybe 1 year.
Yes.
Is it that they did not consider the red flags? Is it financial difficulties? What is wrong?
That is the basic reason why marriages fail. People do not ask why they got married. If you go to our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers, or even in early times from biblical times, marriage has a very specific reason: reproduction and companionship. You married to have a life partner to help you around the home and to help you navigate life. But more importantly, like all mammals or all life, you had to reproduce. And that only happened when men and women came together. In modern society, we added culture and religion and everything to make marriage enjoyable. But all these have gone. Now people don't even do religion anymore. People are moving away to very different sorts of religions. People worship celebrities, and people worship TikTok, and people worship themselves. And then secondly, sex was meant for intimacy and reproduction. We have now condoms getting in the way of reproduction, and Pornhub getting in the way of intimacy. You see, so all these things are tagging away at the institution of marriage as it was. And then finally, I think the reason why is people now get married for all sorts of reasons. You just need a companion and somebody to do life with. But now you want a partner who is your counselor, who is your therapist, who is your supplier, who is your father, who is your mother, and who is also your child. And so you want one person to be an entire office room staff, and that becomes the biggest problem.
Okay, Mr. Okay, you said that marriage was for the purpose of reproduction. So,
And
Mr.
companionship,
Mudas,
yes.
Yeah.
I would like you to tell me, you find that nowadays people enter into marriage just for sexual satisfaction, not for reproduction. What is really happening?
I don't know whether it's right what you just said. I know for a fact that some people might get married because they might want to have, sex. But at the same time, a lot of unmarried people are the people having sex. You know that, eh?
Yeah.
So, and then again, to note that I was telling a friend of mine about the same topic on why people, end up getting divorced. Some are not even getting divorced. Some are the people who came to stay together and then wakakosana. It's important to note that one thing that I've always said, this toxic masculinity, and also there is now toxic femininity now, because somebody it's too woman to do a certain job that are traditionally meant for women. But now, I've never heard if a man says that I can't do that job. Men do dishes, men do laundry without saying stuff. But me, I'm in an open space to say that these toxic traits are the things that make men get bored or make women get bored in a marriage. So once a man gets bored, probably he will not go back to his house, or he will want to go to stay away. Once a woman gets bored with a man, they probably start having problems and issues.
So if I may ask you,
yeah,
you find that nowadays some men,
yeah,
maybe they work as cleaners or they work in hotels where they cook, they make meals, they do all sorts of things, dishes. But when they come to their houses, they start telling you, I am a man. If maybe you request them to help you with dishes or blah blah, they tell you, I am a man. So how
nice,
can you?
Exactly. I know if I go back to my house, I do things not because I'm requested or asked, but men, particularly men, I know this for a fact. They just need one thing. Men like doing stuff on their own will and in a peaceful way. It's also an intimidation if a woman, my wife, starts asking me, hey, osha vyombo.
No, not in that way.
Nioshe vyombo.
Put it in
It's
this manner.
wrong. It's wrong in all aspects for a woman to start asking me to do the dishes.
Put it in
Of
this
course, I'm
manner.
seeing the dishes. Please, Naziona. So it's wrong. I think that's one of the reasons why men might feel bored, because you don't ask a man to do stuff. If he wanted to do, he will do. I'm sure, Mr. Fedi, if you go back home and you found a dirty laundry somewhere and you felt like doing them, you'd do them. But if you asked to do them, I think I'd start getting bored.
So put it in this manner, not like you do it every day. You find that both of you are going to work. You leave in the morning and come back in the afternoon or evening.
Yeah.
So maybe your wife will be late from work,
Yeah.
and then he calls you and tells you, hi Modas, hi babe, I'll be coming back late. Please, can you help with the dishes?
It's okay,
You
but
get me?
please don't ask. If I get home early, I will do the needful. But the fact that if you find I have not done anything, just do it politely. Life must go on. But if you find a sofa set or a kitchen cooker or fridge is placed wrongly, who will do that? It's definitely me, because I'll use my head. This is something that I should do. But now for plates, it's just a small petty work that most men hate. Okay? But for women, because it's part of cleanliness, statistically, women are the best people to do certain jobs.
We get.
So, but still, I think it's just wrong for a woman to ask a man to do petty work.
So,
Okay.
look, let me just explain a few things here. And I see where he's coming from. And I think that's the problem that we have right now. Like I did say earlier on, the definition of roles in a relationship have changed. And that old syllabus is being kicked out without really being kicked out. From the way he speaks, I can tell very well how he was raised, probably by millennials or boomers, or what was that group before boomers? And the structure, even culturally, the structure that comes before you get married and you sit with your uncles and they tell you men are supposed to A, B, C, D, and women are supposed to do this. You cannot do this and so on. But remember that earlier on roles were very defined. Right now we have women who are pilots and you have men who are chefs.
Very true. Now that's where the problem comes
And that's
in.
where the problem is, that if I am a chef and I think my cooking is better than my wife's, or I just enjoy cooking for people, these are the most important people in the family. What is wrong with you doing that? But if culturally or institutionally you are wired to believe that in my home I do not touch the cooking stove, then you find that most men even the chefs themselves will never even fry an egg. I remember of a story, and men also refuse to do things at home. Like there's the guy who believes that anything to do in the house is the wives. So he can show up, and apparently this is a true story. I won't mention what community he's from.
Just mention, please.
No. Saki
Tutaja.
shida na Wameru.
Usha-mention already.
This guy apparently he will get home, okay, and the windows are open and the door is open, and the wife, I think, is a civil servant or something, so they expect her to be home by 5:36. He could get to 7:30, mbuzi nauma huyu jamaa, but he's seated very angry, waiting for the wife to come and close the windows, do the turn, and turn on the lights. So you see, this is extreme patriarchal levels of people getting there. You understand? But also there's also the extreme end where, while women were moving to get equality, feminism, as it was envisioned in the first Beijing conference, that was about equality and ending sexual violence and health. There's this, the way we have toxic males is the same way we have misandrists. It is not longer about equality, it's about domination over men. And that's why you hear now we have women who not want to breastfeed. There are women who cannot even make their husband's coffee. And these are gender and roles and bad and so on. But the key thing is, hang on, does it match? Because if it is an ordinary person, they have issues with that. Then you hear that you ask Oprah Winfrey, her favorite role with a partner over 30 years, what she likes to do. And she's a billionaire 10 times over. But she says, you know what? In my free time, I like making pancakes for my husband. Suddenly, the big hush. And nobody can attack Oprah because Oprah is the perfect representation of feminism. Successful, independent, rich, has everything. But in the home, they know how it works for them. However, we take so many lessons, especially the extreme ones from people, these religion people who cannot do this, and these feminists who can do this, and the Kibes and Rutates of this world, and then you try and blend it and try to come up with something. If everybody keeps on telling you what to do, that is why you fail, because what then are your individual values? He who believes that the wife needs to come and cook needs to get a woman who also believes the man provides.
Yeah, that's
then
the
they will
thing.
blend. You who believe that you can never ever get into the kitchen because now you're a woman, you're independent, should never go and get that man who believes should be there, because that's where the clash is. I personally do not believe that there is a single rule for marriages. There is a rule for partnership. So you need to decide what this partnership is. I don't think people discuss that a lot more.
Now, that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
You find that before you get married or you start something relationship, people don't get to sit, they talk, you hear from the partners, both this side. So you find that nowadays, this issue of providing, we know very well a man is supposed to be the provider, sini ukweli. But you find that nowadays, we as ladies, pia tuna provide maybe little or something, you get.
Even more.
Or even
Sometimes,
more.
yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes even more. But you find that now you are living with such a man that tells you, I am a man, I cannot do this. Yani always, like the story you've just given us. Anakaa tu hapo hata kama umbu inamuuma, hajali. Now you find that those are the kind of men that the Gen Zs are. Most of them, that's who they are. And now they expect you as a woman to go out there, look for money, bring home, and still struggling with the work at home. So how do you, like, what can you say about that?
Which then begs the question, how do you even get married to such a person in the first place?
That was the
They
first
don't-
thing I wanted
they-
to say.
they don't-
Because the mistake that women... Actually, I think... I'm sorry, women. Women are the authors of breakups.
No, not all. I
No,
can't
no,
support
that's
that.
gonna be controversial. No, but I know for a fact, most cases, women are the authors of breakups. Why? You see, what is being put outside here in mainstream media is that, you know, the term toxic masculinity is the most famous term than the opposite. This should be the toxic females. You understand?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's men who always put like, yeah, you're the bad person always. But still, things happen because of bad women or bad females most of the time. You realize that I've always been a fan of roles. Okay, back in my house, sometimes my girlfriend comes over. Okay, I cook. I normally cook. I don't like people even cooking inside the house. I cook for my children. I cook for my cousins. I cook for my other sisters if they are over. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's really not about who should be doing what. It's not about you're a woman, you should be doing what. It's about what is the one thing that the level thing that people should do inside a house. Hata kama tuna work sisi sote, but at the end of the day, we should come to roles. Not that they are defined by you or by me. Some roles are natural, okay? I'm sorry if this is going to sound bad. Kuosha vyombo inafaa kwa naturally kazi ya mwanamke. Okay?
Hatujakataa,
You know,
it's our role, it's our role.
So when you defect from that, it starts to bring misunderstanding inside the house, okay? And that's where you say, if a man can't provide, then basi anaweza fanya vitu zingine. But then if you tell a man that thing, mimi nitaboeka.
You find that this is what I'm trying to mean. You find that in a home setup where maybe the man is the provider, right?
Yeah.
Na job imemuishia all of a sudden, and the lady is working. So you find that the lady wakes up every morning to go to work, ameacha huyu jamaa hapa kwa nyumba. He comes back in the evening. This guy hajashughulikia watoto, hajashughulikia anything, like what is
nini?
that?
Like kushughulikia watoto aje?
Like you find that wako na maybe 2 kids. Huyu jamaa lose job yake. Now the woman has the job. So in the morning when the woman leaves, anaacha amepika chai to the kids, ameacha bwana hapo kwa nyumba. When she comes back in the evening, unapata the guy is just there, stressed up. Yani hata mtoto
Asiposhughulikia watoto, then that's bad.
Yeah, so that is the thing that is happening with the Gen Zs of nowadays. Some of them, a lot of them are doing that.
I think that should be condemned.
So you find that that's who they are. Now, if we talk about it, they will now start saying, because you have a job, blah, 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 you are treating me this way.
But it gets to that. Sometimes wanawake saa zingine, they do one small thing and you do nothing, then after everything I'm doing inside this house, you mean huwezi osha hizo vyombo baba Wafula?
You know, there's something I'm picking up here, which is a very important reason why marriages break right now. There's a very huge economic factor in marriages and what makes it successful or what makes it fail. We've discussed a lot about dishes. You know, for instance,
Yeah.
in my house, I have 2 house helps. Okay, one takes care of the kids, another one takes care of the house. I don't remember the last time my wife touched the dishes, so it doesn't even come up.
So if I may
Food
ask
is
you-
made, mimi nafika nyumbani nimepika, it wasn't made by my wife. However, you will find there are men who will have even all those house help. Lakini
He wants
his
the
rule,
wife.
lazima
My
chakula
wife must.
ipikwe na bibi. I don't know if Gen Zs have that. I would be very surprised.
They do.
I'd have something like that.
You would have something
Not
like that.
because I want that my wife has to work.
Yes.
Personally, I also have a house help. Okay?
Yes.
But when my girlfriend is around,
Yeah.
she prefers actually cooking. Some women actually prefer cooking for their husbands,
Which is
okay.
perfect, which
But
is
now
okay.
I think it is
Yeah.
a toxic trait if a husband says it, not because he feels like he just wants food made by the wife,
Yeah.
which is okay also. But when he wants so because he feels like the wife should be busy, I think now that's the bad direction now. But me personally, I'd want my wife to cook for me because of the love I have for my wife and for what I want. I want to be, I want
that
to
is
eat for my
perfect.
wife. My
I
wife
know
and-
there's a particular food.
Yeah.
There's a way also my wife makes
yeah.
chicken that I do not want anybody else. So even on
Don't make.
Sundays when we now, because we give them their days off and we remain in the house, at that time sometimes we order in, sometimes she makes food. I'm good with barbecues, so sometimes I can marinate nyam overnight, throw it in the oven, comes out, she makes the condiments.
Yes.
So that kind of partnership that's
Jenny-
supposed to work. But
Yeah.
the thing is, I don't think marriage should be that deep or that serious. You know, we interrogate small things and look at the bigger picture. Where do I want to be in 5 years?
Yeah.
Do I see my wife in those 5 years, and where do you want to go? Do you want to build a home together? Do you want to have kids together? Which school do we want our kids to go? What kind of car would I want to drive? Which kind of neighborhood do I want to live in? These are the things that should keep companions together as a partnership, so that where unaleta he, maybe, like you see, I'm more an artist-minded person. My wife is very analytical as a mathematician. So you already see there's an intellectual symbiosis between us. If she has heavy puzzles, a lot of words to write, she stops, like, you know what, help out here. I bring my creativity. If there are a lot of things to do with calculation and so on, my mind goes blank, and she does it while half asleep, you know. So you see how this, we can now complement in each other. Then that, when you speak at that level, then a lot of these small issues don't pop up. But the thing is, if you go to social media even right now, people are discussing boobies and dick sizes, and I'm so sorry, I don't know which audience are this podcast is for. We're just measuring body parts and who has done what, and I'm thinking, where is the intellectual discourse? Because when that disappears, trust me, you are not going to live for 30 years with somebody who you don't match intellectually.
Okay, let me cut you short on that. You find that now, marriages of nowadays,
Yeah.
they fail not because of the things they are not doing,
Yeah.
but because of social media. You find that you, as the head of the house, umetoka job, bibi ametoka job, ama the wife maybe stays at home. Umerudi, as the man of the house, kunafaa kukuwa nako ka small talk between the two of you, the family, I mean. But you find that most of men nowadays wakitoka job, ni simu, social media. Matako ya fulani ni kubwa, my wife is small. You find that
Unaweza compare huyu socialite na huyu wako, unasema,
you are like, no. This is to a point you're even telling the woman.
Nataka Vera.
Yeah, look at you. You keep, like, some men, you body shame your woman. You don't even have their time, like, to talk as a family.
Yes.
So find that most of these marriages fail because of the small things you men are doing to us. Ambembelezi hata mtu, like, what is really happening? Is that true?
No, is
hiyo point ya kubembeleza is such an important thing.
niongee kwanza ndio
Niongee kwanza. Because this now hits at the core of why marriages fail. Now, in the modern society, there are two things that people are looking for. People are looking for independence. You know, I am my own person, I am my own woman, my own man, independent, and so on and so forth. Marriage is built along tolerance and companionship. You cannot have the two and they blend in. Which is why a lot of people advise you, go be a superman, superwoman out there. If you want to come back to the house, you have to tone down. Lazima ushuke chini kama mwanaume, ushuke chini kama mwanamke, because marriage needs tolerance. But no, nowadays we want to treat marriages as a KPI. You are supposed to have done this, you haven't met, you want to put your husband on a performance improvement plan, or your wife. So, you know, you are constantly evaluating these people, forgetting that they are human. Which is why for you to succeed, you must first be friends. You have a lot of grace for, you know, people. Mtu anaweza hata kulala na chali yako na umsamehe. Ama mtu akopeshe mtu pesa, akule. You can lend people even 6 figures, but you will still forgive them and you will be friends for a long time. Bygones be bygones. But now when it comes to your partner, juu sasa amefika nyumbani saa 3 na alisema atafika by 6. You want to remind for the next 6-7 months over that. Mmekosana nini kidogo, because the emotional investment in that does not also come with grace. So if you want to succeed in marriage, you either choose, do I want to be independent or do I have to meet the other person in the middle? Because trust me, nobody is perfect. You will see yourself perfect, but you have got serious flaws that the other person is putting up with. I will see myself as perfect, but I have serious flaws that you also have to put up with. So the question is, before you get married, are you looking at these flaws and saying, I can live with this? And finally, the other thing that people say, we also marry aesthetics or money. Put it plainly, kuna wanaume wanaoa matako na kuna wanawake wanaoa pesa. At some point, both of these can disappear. Now, unaona mtu anakaa tu nguruwe hapo, because they don't have enough money, or beauty disappears. Sasa anakaa kiasi, and the beautiful ones are not yet born. Look at these 22-year-olds on Instagram. Now, since you married beauty, you are looking for beauty. You start cheating. Since you married money and the money has gone down, sasa kuna watu wa forex. You also want to drive a GLE or BMW, na huyu jamaa alikununulia Toyota Passo, Now you start and you want to be seen in Mombasa every other weekend. Even Bill Gates doesn't holiday every weekend, but this socialites holiday every weekend. So you think that is a life you deserve because wewe ni supu. You'll get what's coming for you.
So Modas,
Yeah.
on still about this topic where men,
Yeah.
maybe some married for matako thing.
Yeah.
You married me, maybe nilikuwa na matako thing na imeisha. What would advice would you give to such kind of people that marry for expectation? I expect you to have this until the end of our...
I mean, I don't know, but I feel it's, first of all, it's natural for you as a girl to be attracted to somebody who you think looks fine. Okay? It's very natural if you want somebody with a big leg, and you see somebody with big legs, and then you're like, I like this person with big legs. You know, it's only natural for me. I see like, hey, this girl, amenimaliza, amenifinish. It's natural that I will approach them and tell them what I want. But then again, there's a very thin line between the things that fade and things that can unexpectedly go.
Mm-hmm.
But in as much as we go towards the things that our eyes want, it's also important to know the things that our eyes can't see. Understand?
Yeah.
Yes, you're beautiful and I like you. But are you going to be bringing troubles? Unaenda kulewa ukirudi kwa nyumba. Can you raise babies? Okay? So it's not fair enough to fault on men, because these things happen even for women. You see, your wife probably married you because alikuwa anapenda venye unamkalia fiti, si ndio? And you probably married your wife because you are seeing a future and you are seeing a beauty in, you know. So these things, they happen, but we both have faults, okay? Faults that we can't see probably before marriage, and probably that unajua ukishazoeana na mtu ndio utaanza kuona tabia zingine kumbe huu ni wa maneno. But I feel like everything, when we sit down and talk over, I've been made to understand that there are things that can't be conversed while in relationship. Kuna mashida zenye mtu haezi ongelelea.
Oh, you have to discuss everything, and I think this is one of the things that people do. Unaoa mtu, umeficha mtoto wako uyugis.
Now that's I'm going to be having
4 years down the line,
there,
the boom. Have you seen funerals?
There.
Yeah. 3 families.
Yeah.
Yes, a 24-year-old show up. The wife never knew. How are you hiding a child for 24 years?
No, honestly,
you know?
From experience, because from having, I have kids with different mothers, and I know sometimes if I see like a very young lady who probably has not given birth, and I really like the lady, sometimes naturally I'd be forced to not mention some things, primarily, but still for me, I know, because the particular place I am now, it's very important to mention some of the things, so that if somebody is going to like you with your faults, it's going to be easier for you in front. Because
is very important.
If this comes up later, these are the things that lead to people breaking up. Okay.
So, okay, let me cut you short. So you find that you are not married, and maybe you have 2 kids, like you've said.
I have 3.
Okay, you have 3 kids, like you said.
Yeah.
And you have a girlfriend, and you are planning to take it further, like to make her your wife. So are you advisable to tell her the truth, like, I have 3 kids with different mothers, or would you hide it from her?
It's advisable, even for, I know many people are in this situation, because these things happen. It's being realized after you're married. But it's very advisable. If you like a lady, it's not an issue of life and death. If I like you today, I'm just going to approach you, and the first thing that I'd want you to understand is that I'm a father of 3 with 3 different baby mamas, okay? Then if you've known that part, then I'll go ahead and tell you that what I want. If you like me that way, I feel like that's going to be much stronger, as opposed to me just showing up like this, and then telling you that, and then expecting you to, if you have, after falling in love with me, then after 3 years, I'm telling you, yule ni mtoto wangu.
No,
kama bado una process, I'm also telling you that there's another one mwenye anatoshana na brother yako mkubwa. Then you'll be like, before hata nikupea the third one utakuwa umefinish, si ndio? So it's important that we actually talk about our faults and things that people, if they realize later, will be deal breakers. So it's very important to talk about the bad side of people before getting into marriage.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Ferdinand, you find that most of our marriages nowadays zina fail because we didn't give each other time.
Yes.
Tulikutana like 2 months ago, the third month we are married.
Yeah.
We don't wait, like we don't have time for discussion, knowing our families, the background. Unachukua tu unaleta kwa nyumba.
Yeah.
After some months unagundua kumbe alikuwa mchawi. What can you say about this?
I think it is a very big challenge nowadays because I think we make very rash decisions easy. Really kama mbaya mbaya. And the reality is that making such an important life decision purely based on dopamine is very bad. You know, the reason why they tell you don't drink and drive, because when you're drunk, man, you can drive that car into a ditch and you won't even know. Or you want to do something and you're high on weed. When you're high on weed, it will take you, you'll do whatever, you know. Hata kama ni kulima, utalima, place you can eat 4 plates of ugali, you know, chapati saba peke yako. But when you're sober, now you're thinking, hang on a second, what did I just do? Sometimes you survive by the grace of God after such bad decisions. Now, the dopamine that comes from intimacy is also sharp. The first 3 months is when you can lie, you can be deceptive, because the only thing you are looking is, and nowadays people have sex the first 6 hours after meeting. So you know you've enjoyed the sex. So you're thinking,
even 5 minutes of sitting like this.
And I'm like, people, you know, that's what I'm saying. Sex has been trivialized, but you know, sex creates deep connections. It is sex that makes somebody stab the partner 25 times, like that woman in Langata prison.
Yeah.
It is sex that, you know, people say that you see, and this is a very sensitive topic to say, but you know, people say, amekula fire, mbona pigana na mtu, but for him it wasn't kukula fire, it was the betrayal that comes from the sense of intimacy that they're expecting, and the brain goes cuckoo, you know. And so while they will deserve the punishment that comes up to them, the damage is already done. We fail to understand that intimacy always comes with consequence. And so there are the good consequences, and I don't even think there's a good consequence unless there's that commitment between the two of you. That's more quick release can make you make rash decisions. And once it makes you make those rash decisions, when it comes down and you start looking at this person, and it's something that even has happened to me. I've been into relationships because the first few weeks were fire. Then you start assessing that one, and sasa, why am I dating a smoker? Mimi mwenyewe sivuti sigara. Sasa, now you start toka nje, you know, now you can't smoke in this house, tension inaanzia hapo. Or maybe you are a Catholic, but you went down with a Jehovah's Witness. Now you're concerned about, is this a cult or nini, you know? Or, you know, you've met and you belong to circumcised versus uncircumcised, and now they're starting to tell you have too much foreskin, unaanza kupigania hapo hivyo. But these are things that need to come in advance, or just your belief systems are very different, you know? You start having discussions about where do you go to party, what do you do during the free time, where do you want to go in the future. You want to go and work in Qatar, you want to go and work in Australia. These are things that set you apart. All these decisions need to be made like physical, spiritual, emotional, psychological, and see, is there a congruence, so that you see, I like 70% of this guy, I can live without the 30. Maybe 60 is right, because you never get 100%. And the other person evaluates as well. But most of the time, we only find out after we have already committed, because we committed in 24 hours or 1 month and 3 months. You know, people have sex twice and now they move in together. Now when you're together in this house is when you realize huyu lazima apikiwe na wewe hata hujui kupika mayai. Shida inaanzia hapo. Maybe because of that first night mtoto pia alishakuja, and now there's a delivery. And now you think, Mimi, now we have to be married because my child is not being raised anywhere else. But then once you stay in there, you realize that it takes more than a baby to keep a relationship together.
So now that's the mistake that the Gen Zs are really making out here.
It's a pandemic. It's a pandemic which even I think a lot of millennials are making. Now, as older people, you know what we're telling ourselves? It's a wahenga wa millennials that if you marry after 30, you have avoided your first divorce. Because two things. Number one, the age between 20 and 30 is the experimentation period. You've just stepped out of college. You've moved into your own SQ or a shared room. You've started getting your first salary. Ndio unaanza kujua maisha. Suddenly you can go to Blankets and Wine and Jameson and Vasha and so on. and then unapata chali wa CU hapo Christian Union wants you to sit down, you will not agree. You know, when you're getting to 30, you're probably in your second or your third job, so pesa imeanza kupanda kidogo.
Is this for female or male?
Both.
Okay.
Because everybody parties. In fact, nowadays, if you see their pictures, there are more women than men in clubs. They are in their, baddie era.
Yeah.
So when you're still a baddie, there's no reason for you to think you want to get married. Just do baddie things. This world nowadays, nobody judges you. So if you're still stuck, and that's why you'll find some 65-year-olds really twerking in clubs because they missed this period. They got married very early. Before it was perfectly acceptable. 21 to 25, boom. And it worked because even families, kids were raised by communities. When I misbehaved, a stranger would whack me vibaya sana and I would get in line. I would be beaten by the community.
That's true.
Saizi guza mtoto wa jirani uone vile utapelekwa mahakamani. So once you hit your 30s, you've done whatever it is you wanted to do. And this is not a playbook, I'm just saying theoretically. You're now looking back and say, okay, now I'm ready to settle. Now you're starting to look. So now you're getting clarity. You're seeing 40 on the way. So there's very little time ya kucheza hapa katikati.
That's true.
Some people mature differently. They might mature at 20 or 22 or 24 or 25. But the rule book has changed. Nowadays, women even give back at 50.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ferdinand. So before we end our podcast show, Mudas, I would like you to advise the Gen Zs, should they give it time before getting married, like wajipange tu kimaisha ama wakimbie tu below 30 ushafanya blah blah. What can you advise them?
Okay. My advice, I think, to the young people, while I don't know whether there is an established age where we should start getting married, but I feel like if somebody wants to get married at 24, maybe that's what they want. But most of the time, it's not planned. Most of the time, it's natural. You start staying with somebody like it's a joke, and they bring their slippers, and then tomorrow they have their kitu ya kuoga inaitwa aje, bonnet ama
yes, the bonnet.
Kajuala ya kuoga wameweka kwa bafu. Then kidogo nguo zimekuwa suitcase, kidogo awe pia unaona kuna haja. It's sometimes this is what people want, but now before doing this and before deciding even to stay over with somebody for a day or two, watu wanafaa kujianalyze mashida zetu ziko wapi na tusidanganyane. Let's not lie to one another as young people, because I think the issues of cheating are one of the major things zenye zinafanya watu wakose kukuwa na strong relationships, and this is about lust ile yenye uko nayo ikutoshi. I'm having a wife or a girlfriend, then I see another lady mwenye ako tuseme better than I want, ama the lady, my girlfriend, sees another man mwenye sasa akona mguu kubwa kunishinda, then you see, so this
ruins the dating world completely.
Then plus also that, then you see like you have standards of how a woman should look like. You understand? So we should be content na tunafaa kuridhika na ile kitu yenye tuko nayo. If I have one wife and this is mwenye Mungu amenipea, this is the person I should make plans with. Then also, it's important as young people to empower each other. Okay, you are dating, you're in your 20s, both of you. It's good to empower one another, because mostly for young people, that's the age between 21 to maybe 29. That's where you find people trying to fix their future and their lives. A few people have figured out what they do for an income. A lot of young people at that age, they still don't know, because mtu hajiamini. Me, when I was graduating, it took me about 3 years just trying to figure out hii course nimefanya ni poa. Of course niko na degree ya biomedical engineering. Mtu tu atani employ out of nowhere. You see, it takes more than you knowing what you are supposed to do what you're supposed to do. Okay? So as young people, they should realize what they are supposed to be doing by each other. And if I'm at a point to empower my wife, I should be doing that as a young person. Okay? If it's possible, watu wakuwa na shared vision, then inaenda kwa even faster. So empowerment na kukuwa na shared vision among young people, na kukuwa kukuwa contented, ama what's the English? Kukuwa satisfied.
Yeah.
Tusikuwe na last mingi, okay? Then these things itafanya relationship. For a fact, I know a lot of young people who are my friends, wamekuwa in a relationship for more than 5 years, and I know that for sure, that if we do all these things, then we will indeed have stronger relationships.
Okay, thank you guys for watching us. We've come to the end of our podcast show. See you next time. Bye bye.